Hi, this is Nathan Wilson. I'm a certified tax specialist with Independence Money. And today we're going to help keep you independent from taxation. Today's topic is how to get into the 0% tax bracket in retirement legally. So, a little backstory here. Here at Independence Money, we decided the content theme for this channel in 2023 is to capture conversations that I have with clients. So, this genius idea was hatched out of the marketing team, and it was phrased to me as a question. And he asked me if I could take on 100 new clients that needed tax strategies in a single month. The obvious answer is no. So he rephrased another question and said, but could you video teach 100 viewers in a month? And if 10 of those people share the video, that's even more viewers help. So we're going to just record some of the trail maps that I use to illustrate tax strategies when I bring on new clients here. So we're going to cover a trail map today. It's a simple one-pager, and it illustrates how investments are taxed and how you can win the tax-free game. So without much further ado, let me bring up this trail map and we'll go to work. All right, so this starting piece here is obviously I'm advocating the triple tax protected plan, and you'll see why here in a minute. So let's just briefly do a little step back in time. This is the history of income tax rates, and it's a simple question. Where do you think the rates are going to go in the future, right? So for you stock guys, right, and if you were to look at this chart as a stock, you might come to the conclusion that, hey, the good idea is to buy low and sell high. Well, the same adage applies to tax tables. So if you look here historically over the spans of this time, I think this is from 1965 here, they really jacked up the tax rates to this really high level. And historically, in modern times, they've been vastly lower. So what's interesting is the tax deferred plans, like the traditional 401k, IRA, defined benefit and such. Those were hatched out of an era when taxes were a lot higher. And so they were incentivizing people to save for retirement by offering them tax deductions. The concern that I have is people are deferring taxes now when it's low in exchange for paying those taxes in retirement when the rates could very well be a lot higher. So I'm going to advocate, does it make sense to fund a tax-free code with after-tax money, therefore paying your share of the taxes now in exchange for not having to pay them later? So let's go into this. This was last updated around a year ago. The federal deficit on the time of this printing was $30 trillion. On my other screen over here, it is ticking fast, and it sees that it's 31.5 trillion currently. Now, the federal tax revenue was 4 trillion, and income tax was less than 2. So the rest of that's like payroll tax that goes to, hopefully is supposed to go to Social Security and Medicare and things like that. Point being, the current federal spending is 6 trillion. And this is where I say we protect assets and income from the theft of taxation. What does that mean? Well, it means that the government doesn't have to live within their means, meaning they're spending 6 trillion and they're only bringing in 4 trillion. Why have taxes at all? Just simply print the money, right? If that's what they're doing anyway. But that's a topic for another day. So simply put, we break investments down into what tax table they belong in. So right here, we have taxable right now. So if you own any income from real estate, or you're getting, some dividend income or capital gains income from mutual funds, and it's not in a retirement code, that is taxed right now. And so to break that down here, any earned income, real estate, mutual fund, that comes in at AGI. So that comes in at the top of your tax bracket, right? The next code or bucket is tax deferred, and that's the topic we've been on here. So traditional 401ks, traditional IRAs, pension plans, those are all saying, hey, I'll take a tax deduction now at today's low rates and pay taxes later in retirement. And when that happens, that is going to come out at AGI as well. However, when you're funding these plans, you get a tax deduction only on federal and state. It does not reduce the taxation on Social Security and Medicare or payroll tax. That still applies to the share that goes into, say, your 401k. However, when the money comes out, it picks up all four of those. So you get a tax deduction on two going in, you pick up the taxes on the four coming out. So you'd have federal, state. It can trigger a tripwire in the tax code that makes your Social Security taxable. The Social Security income could either be taxed at zero, or 50% of it could be applied to taxes, or 85% of it, depending on what tripwire you hit. And if you have a big enough 401k or IRA, you could be blasting through those and picking up the taxes there. And then all of that AGI wraps up to figure out what your Medicare premiums are. So I've had some clients that's what they get upset about the most, is paying the high Medicare premiums because they just have too much money in that bucket here. The last one over here is the 0% bracket. That's the title of this video, and it comes in two tax codes. One is the Roth IRA. The other is the LIRP, or Life Insured Retirement Plan. That's a really unique code where you try to minimize the amount of death benefit to maximize the cash value, and properly designed, you can supplement your income and retirement through that tax-free cash value. So that would be the 0% bracket. I do believe, like anything else, the diversification rules apply. It shouldn't be all or nothing here. So if you have all your money in tax deferred, you could be in a big pain point in retirement tax-wise. Whereas if you had some of it in tax protected in the zero bracket, it can actually go in your favor. So let me illustrate that here for a second. Over here on the taxable income, there's another subset of the code: long-term capital gains and qualified dividends. Those are either taxed at 0, 15, or 20% on federal. And a lot of times that is set based on this tax deferred code. So if you didn't have as much distributions from tax deferred assets, or all your money was in the tax-free bucket, that could make your long-term capital gains 0 and qualified dividends 0. However, if you had a lot of money in tax deferred, it could bump those up to 15 or even 20. So the IRA is it creates more taxes than just itself, is kind of the concern I'm trying to stress here. Now, what investment does not fit neatly into either one of these boxes? That's US-based domestic equities that pay dividends. That's where you get this qualified dividend rate. And it can either be in the 0% tax bracket, which is illustrated over here, if you have a lot of your money in the 0 bracket, as opposed to tax deferred, or if you have a lot of money in the tax deferred bracket, it slides over here to taxable right now and picks up that 15 or the 20. So a well-designed plan could have an element of tax-free money combined with making the US domestic equities and dividends tax-free as well. So that's a little piece I like to educate people on. I certainly hope you enjoy it. If you did, we'd appreciate any comments, shares, and thumbs up. So what I want to stress next here, just in conclusion here, is Congress does not have to get along for taxes to go up. The Tax Job and Creation Act, it expires in 2025. And so taxes by default are going to go back to what they were pre-2017. They're going to go back to higher for most Americans, unless they extend it. But that would require having faith in our leaders, right? So you have a limited amount of time here to take some action here. Again, in full disclosure, I'm also a fiduciary investment advisor with Guidespring Wealth Strategies. It's a registered investment advisory firm. So I have to say, these are not recommendations nor customized advice. I don't know your specific circumstances. These strategies are not right for everybody. All investing involves some level of risk. If you would like to stay in touch with me, go to independence-money.com, scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter. If you're anything like me, you hate spam, so rest assured I will email sparingly. But it's a way for me to keep in touch with you if any tax strategies emerge that you might want to be interested in. If you would like to see how this applies to your situation, you can email me at team@independence-money.com, and I'll be glad to get you on my calendar. Hope you enjoyed today's topic. Appreciate any comments. Y'all take care.